Hello and welcome, everyone, to the GamerSpeak E3 Coverage 2019 podcast. We skipped last year because Connor big-brained the whole thing and sabotaged the podcast, but here we are, not putting no shade on anyone, obviously, but yeah, we didn't feel like repeating the last one, so we just skipped it, and here we are.
Can we say gamers as much as Phil Spencer?
Yes, we have a 49. We have a 49 limit on the word gamer. But anyway,
49.
Yes, 49.
You said it twice now?
Yeah. Anyway, but welcome to the 2019 E3 podcast.
Do we count GamerSpeak as saying gamer?
Sorry
to interrupt.
Let's go ahead and not count that.
Okay, so since it's a compound word, it doesn't count.
Cannot do this intro.
We have 47
Okay.
left.
Anyway, but you were joined by me,
no, Gamer.
Emerald Gamer. That's another one. Oh no. Cole, Emerald Gamer. That's me. And then we have Raspite Gamer, Rallen, Riko.
What's going on, guys?
Say hello. Say hello.
I'm just Garnet. There's no G word at the end. I want to save as many as we can for the end.
Richard Garnet Gamer.
Oh, you ruined it.
Welcome.
You're
And
wasting them.
We have of Duel Links fame, Ruby Gamer, Colton
Ruby
still hasn't dropped the game. Gamer.
Man.
We're at 41 left, by the way.
I don't
Anyway.
think I'm counting correctly.
Anyway, welcome to the podcast. It's been a great E3, honestly. Way better than pretty much any of the other ones we've done group collaborations for, in terms of having like watch parties and watching every conference and all that. Much like a lot of people do. But shit's gamer Christmas this year, boys. We got good we got good stuff. Definitely, I think everyone's probably in agreement. I would feel like I'm gonna go on a limb, say that this is probably the best like E3, like that we've done. Is everyone in agreement?
It's because Sony wasn't there.
I've only done, this is my second one, so...
Look, so the fact that Sony wasn't there is kind of upsetting, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway,
It's everywhere.
They're just
We'll
different
get to that,
kinds
we'll
of
get to
gamers.
oh, I'm sorry, I'm in Burptown, everybody. My bad. Anyway.
How could you?
But I guess we're jumping right in. As per usual, I guess with the podcast, I guess I'll be the one starting the topics.
What if I wanted to start a topic?
Then go right ahead, Richard. What's your topic?
I think
Gaming?
gaming is really for gamers, and that gamers
You suck, Richard.
Alright, cut the.
should really.
Alright, gamers, cut the feed. Alright. Anyway, now that Phil Spencer's off the stage, we can. My distant relative. We can go.
AKA Frank East.
Yeah, Frank
Not
East.
Frank West.
What?
Real life
Looks
Frank
like
East.
Frank East, dude.
He looks like dollar store Frank West. But anyway, I guess the first thing I wanted to get off, just answer wise, how everyone felt about the whole thing overall. We're gonna do the good old rating out of 10 thing. See how you felt about E3 overall. I'll do me at last as per usual.
What'd you
think?
Really in the script, though.
Good question. This is my first time having to rate an E3, and I postpartum watched Bethesda and Microsoft. We're not able to make that. But I guess I'd say an 8. There were some cool things. Given this is my first time rating, I think an 8's a pretty solid number.
Fair enough. Richard, what'd you think?
Damn it.
I go in order, you know this.
I know. I'd give it a gamer out of E3.
What a rating. What an absolute rating.
Yeah,
Look,
35.
okay, I don't know, like... fucking 3 for E3.
You suck.
Damn. Really? That low?
I'm counting it as like an average.
3 is average to you?
3 out of like, I don't know, man, like 3 out of 5.
3 out of 10 ain't bad. But, so 3?
Out of like 5, yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a
6 out of 10?
It's like a 6.5 out of 10.
There you go. There's a number.
Colton, what'd you think?
I
I know you weren't here for most of it this year.
was the
Physically.
opposite of Michael. I was here for the Microsoft and Bethesda, and then I missed all the other days.
Yeah.
But I still watched them. So
Yeah, that was like the best day. So.
That really, honestly, it really was.
I thought you liked Square Enix.
I mean, it was, but overall, like the day wise, it was probably the best because they didn't have like too big of time gaps. It's kind of why I was a little sad that Sony wasn't there, considering the fact that we had to sit around and wait for hours.
That's fair.
Just less content overall.
I'd probably give it like a 7. There's no E3 that I've ever seen that I would give higher than an 8, though. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. For me, like I just said, Sony wasn't present, which kind of just overall just gave us less content. But I feel like with them doing what the fuck do they call their press events? Days of Play or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like with them doing one of those, even though it was a really short one, like a few weeks prior to E3, I feel like there wasn't a whole lot they could have shown off, honestly, of like new games coming out. Because honestly, as much as like Ghost of Tsushima is like a thing, but we get the basic premise of it at least. Like we don't really need Samurai Guy game. We don't really need to see more of that. Last of Us Part 2 was probably not going to be anything much else in the same department as far as being any different. The first 2 trailers they've done, they've basically just been the exact same thing, I feel like. So, I mean, as far as giving us anything new, I feel like they just left it all to the rest of the conferences to just cover the things that PlayStation will have, just not exclusives. So it's kind of, but overall, other than the time gap that it ended up giving us, because we didn't have we had a bunch of time to goof around until fucking the Square Enix conference started that night. I'd say it's probably, for me, like a 7.5. Something like that. Which I feel like is the best rating I'd say I've given since like we started doing these or whatever. Like since we all started like watching them together as a group. I definitely feel like this was the best E3, mostly because they showed off a lot of stuff that they had announced since we started watching them, and we haven't heard a damn thing since.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was pretty warranted
for
for that. And also some more details on stuff we got last year, which very rarely do we actually get a true follow-up to games that are shown off a previous year.
True that.
They're usually given a separate time, just randomly someday in the future, So, but yeah, let's see if those ratings change for anybody as we go through this whole thing. Figured we might as well just start off just hammering away at them. EA conference. Did anyone watch that?
No, I saw like a little bit of what they talked about.
They're making a Star Wars game.
Oh,
Did you know that?
That's all I saw.
Did you guys know that it's a Star Wars game?
Hell yeah, dude.
And that's apparently all that matters.
Isn't it
Is that it's just a Star Wars game? Yeah.
People are going nuts over that
It looks
game.
neat.
It does
Don't
look
get
good.
me
It
wrong.
looks clean, but
it's like
it's not
the
something
fact
to hype.
that my problem with it is the hype is literally like even during the conference the guy was just like, guys, they're making a Star Wars.
Oh,
like that's
Greg
all
Miller,
it was.
dude?
Yeah, Greg Miller was just
That
the
guy.
entire time. Just
Why
that's
isn't
all he
everyone
would
more
say.
excited? It's a Star Wars
I'm
game.
not gonna
Exactly.
lie. I'm not gonna lie. That Greg Miller dude, he was pretty much the only source of like cringe throughout the entirety of it. Like not trying to be like that dude that's like E3 cringe or whatever, but like that dude legitimately like there was literally a frame in the EA conference just so you guys know since you didn't watch it or whatever. It was like right after I feel like it was right after the Apex Legends stuff that they did. It just shot to him in the audience and he was holding some random dude's child on his shoulder while he was talking. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's kind of weird.
It's not cringe. That would make me laugh.
Like, it's just kind of weird because, like, he's just, like, talking before, the camera actually gets on him because there's a delay on the stream. And then it's just him holding, like, this, little black girl, like, on his shoulders or whatever. And I'm like, where the fuck did this come from?
You just found it.
I'm like, what the? Okay, that's weird. It honestly just felt kind of creepy. But I missed the Star Wars stuff, ironically.
I watched the trailer.
I watched
by
the trailer.
chance,
I watched the trailer like post after it like came out because I caught the stream live. But like, holy crap! At least it wasn't like awful. Normally the EA one's just awful.
Yeah, I mean to be
Hey,
fair,
you want FIFA 47?
FIFA,
No,
Madden,
sucks.
you know, there you go.
To be fair, with those games, I think they're finally starting to get smart with it, and I feel because they do the same fucking thing every year. It's actual game that people may or may not care about, soccer, football, or football and football, depending on who you ask, and then some other games, whatever. But with the sports games, they're actually kind of going, like, from what I sat there and watched through the whole thing, they're finally actually going back to those, like, not exactly the games that people would just, like, very, like, non-sports games people would play for a sports game anyway, like FIFA Street and NFL Blitz and stuff like that, like, those games where it's, like, kind of a sports game, but it's, like, not really, because it's very, like, fantasy-esque in some ways.
Yeah.
Where, like, FIFA Street is just street soccer, but, I mean, that still has elements of it that's not like, okay, there's not a lot of rules, you just kind of, like, hit the ball around or whatever.
So it's kind of like the idea of, with, like, the NBA games, like, playgrounds and shit like that.
Yeah. Okay. They're finally getting to that point where I think they're realizing that taking it to realism is, like, can only get them so far, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because they've, like, the whole thing...
Because there's only so much of an audience that you can really get that really enjoys that.
Because like the whole thing that they're adding with FIFA is that they have like they added street soccer into the game, which is pretty cool, I guess. I mean, I'm not like a FIFA guy really, but I could see a lot more people picking up the game that normally wouldn't. And like with Madden, which actually kind of interested me a little bit because they actually gave like players like powers and stuff, like abilities. Which is kind of neat. It's kind of like NFL Blitz a little bit, where you can just actually beat the living shit out of the other players or whatever, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Like that stuff's fun. Only to a degree, really, but like at least it carries it more than John Madden, what do you got to say? And John Madden goes, pick that one! And you pick it, and it's the wrong fucking thing every time. I'm tired of it. And anyway, Apex Legends, The Sims 4 expansion. Ooh, boy. The Sims 4 is dead before it even happened.
Impressive graphics.
And that was it. That was just the EA one. And I think that the very next one was just Microsoft's. Literally, there was nothing else in between. It was like not really bright and early, but
EA's was 4 hours long. It was all of Saturday.
Yeah, it was rough to sit through anyway. But Microsoft's was there. Did anyone have a game that was like on the Microsoft one that stood out? I guess
Halo Infinite.
Shut up.
Granted,
Man,
yeah.
get out of here.
Halo's dead.
You're dead.
No. Halo
Not
died
really,
in
like-
Reach.
Oh,
Like the thing with
more
Microsoft was
than
it
just
was it was one of those where they go through like the games that they think everyone's gonna be like, oh, that's amazing, and then it just did the like a lot of them were just quick and like I don't even know what I can't remember half of them.
They kind of did the strategy last year where they were like,
Yeah.
They were like, this is how many games we're doing on the conference today,
Yeah.
just
Also-
ahead of time.
I don't appreciate how much you lied to me when I got here.
What?
Because you were like,
What?
oh, it just started a little bit ago. You didn't miss much.
It really did.
I got here when they were showing Battletoads,
Yeah.
which was right after the Keanu Reeves part, which
Yeah.
was literally the best part of the entirety of E3.
False.
And you were like, oh, you didn't miss much. They just started.
You really didn't.
I missed Keanu Reeves.
Oh, fuck that.
Cyberpunk
Cyberpunk,
2077 looks interesting at least. It's
I mean, it looks interesting, but
I don't
it's
care
not.
about the game. I want Keanu Reeves.
Did you guys know that
I don't know. I like.
allegedly he's not actually lonely? That was just a fake.
We don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know fucking Keanu Reeves. I don't honestly
He's
care.
the nicest person in Hollywood.
I don't.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I don't really get. I don't know. Like we were all sitting there watching it, and I don't think a single person really batted an eye at the whole
I just don't know
Keanu
the
Reeves
game.
thing.
Like
It seemed like a weird like cop out almost. Like they were just like, John Wick 3 came out. We need to fucking
Dude, it's
capitalize
crazy.
on
I
it.
can't believe Fortnite guy made it into a different
Fortnite
game.
guy.
It's crazy.
I don't know. I didn't really get it, honestly. I was like,
Like
cool.
I'm cool with people like
Rick
Keanu
Ross was
Reeves
in
is
it,
cool
though.
and all. My
that guy with
my problem
metal
is
arm.
that it's like, okay, so we were making this
I heard
game,
his voice.
and we have these people that are really happy that we're making this game, and then they're like, oh, okay, by the way, let's put Keanu Reeves in the game, and then that suddenly becomes the selling point. And
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I mean, to be fair,
Like anyone that didn't care about the game, and then they found out Keanu Reeves is in it, and they were like, "Oh, there's gonna be a great game." That's dumb. That's
That
the dumbest
really is
thing
dumb.
ever.
that's like a non-reason to get a game. I feel like,
Because I
but
really don't think it
whatever.
was nearly as big of a deal until they did that. I
Yeah.
don't think it was gonna be like as big. Of a
I mean,
deal.
there were definitely people that were hyped.
Oh, for sure.
But
But
I
I'm
wouldn't
not saying
Games of
that.
it for years
I wouldn't
before I
say-
realized it was a
yeah.
good fucking video game.
I wouldn't say that people were like, because it was one of it. I mean, that game has like fucking Kingdom Hearts 3 syndrome. It's been in development for ages now.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
people were like, if they actually reveal it this E3, I'll eat my fucking hat or some shit.
Yeah.
I'll
And
eat
then-
my hat.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Also because they just ripped off New Vegas.
oh the
Yeah, you get shot in the head,
Outer
and
Worlds.
then you wake up, dude. No, I'm talking about this. Cyberpunk.
No, that,
No.
You get shot in the face, and then you wake up, and this is
and there's a
Speaking
dude,
of
yeah.
that,
hey, dude.
Why did they open their conference with Outer Worlds, which was something they've already shown before?
It was literally
Yep.
well. To be fair, they already showed that game, but for some reason they showed a slightly different trailer than the one that they showed off at the Game Awards, which was in fucking December. So I mean, whatever. But I think maybe this one included a release date, maybe.
I think it did.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I've lost my memory at this point on that. But
I
like,
mean, usually you would start with like maybe your most visually impressive game, like Cyberpunk.
but that one,
But-
that game is literally just in the Fallout 4
Obsidian
engine.
suffers from Bethesda syndrome, where their games look like shit because they spend too much time on the engine and the story
Yeah.
and stuff. But
Yeah.
Well, can we talk about Bleeding Edge though? Want to play is like not. What the feeling I got from seeing
Bleeding Edge. Remind me.
It's the remember the pink hair.
Oh, the one that looked like the game that looked like Gotham City Imposters or whatever. That
Yeah.
one.
It reminded what I got from this is all the people that were rejected from Overwatch. They started their own game, and it's just these are all the others. Like over here we got Tracer and fucking.
Can't name a single other Overwatch character.
No, I'm trying to name.
Fraud.
No, what's the one-legged dude who blew his leg off?
Junkrat.
Junkrat. That's what I'm gonna say. Junkrat. Because they had one in the fucking Bleeding Edge that looked like old wannabe fucking Junkrat, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
I mean, to be fair, that game is going to inevitably suffer from like a clone syndrome for sure. But I do
Call
definitely get
Battleborn.
more of like a Gotham. Well, I don't even know why I say Gotham City Imposters. Team Fortress 2 kind of vibe.
Can't wait for Team
I
Fortress
just
2
say
too.
Gotham City Imposters 'cause that's the one I've played. But I don't know. It seems all right, but most likely it's just an Xbox exclusive. I think so. I mean, being someone that owns an Xbox One and plays literally Forza on it, then that's it. I don't know. I don't really see myself getting very many Xbox games at all.
Yeah, well,
it made me think of Battleborn. It's gonna be Battleborn 2, where everyone's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's so cool," and then it comes out and it's dead immediately.
Because Overwatch is right there. If you want
Yep.
that kind of game, you have Overwatch.
Yeah, that game is pretty everywhere and also pretty definitively like the best kind of game for that style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like as much as some people
Since
may
Team
rip on
Fortress
it.
2.
Yeah. As like when some people may rip on it or whatever, but I feel like it's a solid ass game.
It has
It
its
really
issues.
is.
The game,
don't get me
like they
wrong.
don't last. The games don't last long.
Not really.
They're
no.
like the perfect like size of roster, and it even increases. And that like those two things alone are enough for me to just keep playing the game. And yeah, we take breaks off of that game or whatever, but it's like we always end up coming back to it. And
Yes,
it's
no,
just
for
as
sure.
easy to pick up.
Oh yeah.
But that's really about it. What else? Battletoads. That seemed pretty neat. I mean, the art style, like even though it's hand drawn, and I prefer hand-drawn art style. I would have rather had like a more retro kind of style looking game.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of like Battletoads Go. Like they're using the fucking. It looked like Teen Titans Go or Thundercats Roar
It just-
or what have that cow art shit.
It like it kind of like it's a little
It
offsetting
doesn't
to
look
look
as
at.
bad. It doesn't look bad, but it's like it looks.
But yeah, for Battletoads, it's like I don't know. I'm like a huge fan of that game. Honestly, I like beat 'em ups.
It looked like it was animated in Flash.
Yeah, like it's just that like the animations were.
I
The
like
animations
shit
is what made it look wonky. The art style was like appropriate. I feel like because it was all like hand drawn, like Castle Crashers kind of style. Which that's like a Flash game. Technically, it's Newgrounds or whatever.
I mean,
But
Flash
like,
is going out of business though. Whatever, we're gonna have that.
Yeah.
Math games going down in 2020.
and then a sad day. But what else? There was a couple of things that I don't even know where they would have put it, but I know it was at I know it was either at E3 or it was like announced or at least talked about. But apparently, Arc Systems. I've been saying this for like a week now, because apparently they're working on the Guilty Gear team anyway is working on like a Godzilla fighting game. I guess.
Oh yeah.
Like Godzilla vs. King Kong fighting game, I guess is what it's called. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, considering we didn't see it at E3, but I have heard word from multiple people at this point that it's like a thing. So I guess it's a thing. I would have really wanted to see that, honestly, because being a big Godzilla person, honestly, I'm
Maybe
like
it's still in development or something. I'd love to see
maybe.
it.
It's supposed to be made by the Guilty Gear guys, so Dragon Ball Fighters-esque visuals, I would imagine. Which honestly, that game is very impressive looking visually, anyway.
What, the one that they showed?
No, Fighters.
Okay, because
the
I was about
one
to say
PS4.
that.
That
I
one,
didn't like it.
Okay, that I wanted to segue into that in some way. The fucking the Dragon Ball Z RPG, which is just called Kakarot.
It's like Story of Kakarot.
Yeah, something like that.
It's gay.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the title either, but what I'm really not a fan of is the fact that they're using the same goddamn engine as Xenoverse 1 still, and I hate it. I absolutely hate that engine a lot. It just makes everyone look like toys. Like, whenever you made that comment when we were sitting there watching it, and you were like, it looks like a PS2 game, and I was thinking, like, for a moment, I was like, because I really thought it was going to be a Tenkaichi game. I 100% thought it was going to be the next one.
It didn't look very different from the games we played on the PS2.
But at the same time, well, it definitely looks different.
It made me think of it because the setting they were in.
Yeah.
Like when they flew over the grass fields. It always makes me think of the
If you
PS2
look at
one.
gameplay from Xenoverse 2, you will see nothing different visually from that game, which isn't a problem. But honestly, when you mention that, I really don't like that. The art style, the style they took with it, because the Tenkaichi games on PS2 and all the Budokai games are all 3D models, but they're textured. They're textured to look more like their anime counterpart, so that way the faces look actually not unrealistic on them.
Yeah.
They look like what you would imagine them to look like as best as they can, in a 3D game space with a bunch of polygons and rounded shapes and shit. The Kakarot game, I have a lot of concerns for it. Other than just that, on top of that, it's just gonna be the same story. It's every time we go through this. Every time a Dragon Ball game comes out, it's the same story or the same moments in the show, but maybe tweaked a little bit to where you fight someone differently, or you fight someone that you wouldn't normally in that exact moment or whatever.
See what it reminds me of?
It's just gonna be that.
It's they were on the Game Boy. I think it's they were called Story of Goku or something, where there was the RPGs where you could fight around and you could
I know what you're
fight
talking about.
wolves
But
and snakes and stuff in the forest, and you progress through levels, and you could go through different levels and fight enemies and level up your abilities and stuff. And in some of those games, one of the cool things was you were able to fly over the entire map in something that felt like how people in the show would. You can fly in hyperspeed and go from West City to the mountain range in like
Mountain
5 seconds.
range.
I forget what they're called. It starts with a Y. I
Yeah,
think.
don't worry.
Yantabit Heights or something.
That sounded like it was out of left field. Not taking that as an answer,
Heights.
sir.
It's something like that.
But anyway, yeah.
But had that feeling of you're actually flying around and maneuvering it. There's no like real loading screen. You just fly up, go over there, and you just look down the map. Oh, that's where I want to go. Shh, fly over there, land. There you go.
I feel like
think
it's
that's
going to be
kinda cool.
exactly like a more linear version of One Piece World Seeker, I feel like.
One Piece is bad, so.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that is the best One Piece game that you could play.
There's
that
multiple
the one
One
that
Piece
they
It's
games.
announced
open
last
world
year?
and stuff, yeah. And,
Yeah.
like, you can, like, Spider-Man your ass around
And I
everywhere.
sent that to the group, and I was like, "This actually looks good."
It actually is a really cool. It actually is a really cool game, except for the combat. Combat's kind of ass, and I feel like it's gonna be just the same like that with this game as well. Cause like I don't know why, but for some reason these anime games like just have this weird thing where like you hit enemies. You have hits done to where you get hit, and like you can't react or do anything until they drop like a combo or something, or they stop hitting you or knock you away. But the enemies don't have that at all. 90% of the time. So you just have to sit. It's not a true like fighting experience because you're just sitting there on a timer to hit them until they decide, okay, I had enough hit. You hit me too many times. Blah. And then you just get sent back for like 5 seconds and
What
rinse and
was
repeat.
it?
It's not fun.
What's that one PS2 game where if you got knocked out of Super Saiyan 2, the game just broke?
I have no idea.
Did you just ask what's that One Piece 2 game?
No,
Where
that
you
one
can-
that one PS2 game.
I think your
brain just
I just merged with like 3 of the
It's,
different
I forget the name,
topics
but it's
and
one
got
of
confused.
one of those like RPG ones where you go through the things and you go through each place, but you find like a bunch of Cybermen, and then you get to the Saiyans or whatever, and there's a gimmick like you had to line up the spirit bomb, the special.
You're
beam
talking about
cannon.
Dragon Ball Saga,
I think so, yeah.
and that
Well,
game's
yeah.
bad.
Yeah, when you get knocked out of Super Saiyan 2 against Cell, there's legitimately no way to get back into it, and you can't damage anything.
Moral of the story: Dragon Ball games are 90% of the time horrible. Anyway,
But sometimes they're good.
Anyway.
Fighters. They get really
Like
good.
anime
I
based
guess,
games
but that's a
are
tangent
horrible.
for another time. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Because the anime level of fighting doesn't translate into a video game.
It really
Soul
doesn't.
Calibur
Like if
anime?
you compare like fights in Dragon Ball to like Street Fighter fights,
Yeah,
Street Fighter's so toned down that
it's toned down to where it makes sense. Like that way, you can actually see what the fuck you're doing. Like
Yeah,
in Dragon Ball Z and all those other stuff, it's just like punch, big punch, like everywhere, and you're
Yeah.
like I feel like no person would have the actual dexterity to hit every single button, you know, for
I do.
it. So
Yeah.
they have to like make it work, I guess. But speaking of anime games, fucking they announced like that Phantasy Star Online 2 was coming to like America. Finally,
It's a
I
Donovan
guess.
game. I don't care.
Even though I didn't know that it was coming or a thing, so I looked at it and I mean the trailer looked fucking cool. Like that trailer seemed like it'd be something I'd be definitely down for. And I have played a Phantasy Star game, but I don't think it was an online one. I think it was just a PS2 one. I don't think that one had any online. So, but I mean, it had mech suits in it. I'm pretty
like
okay
mech
with
suits.
that.
The suits are pretty cool.
Giant big things that may or may not be robotic. That's my big spiel, I guess. But
He's just really into it. Like it's some really satisfied.
but yeah, I mean it was pretty dope.
Big Mick.
It's pretty dope.
Big Mick.
But was there anything else? Are we missing? Well, there was the Forza thing that was actually kind of neat. Legos.
Legos?
They had a Ferrari / Lamborghini. I couldn't tell. Man had a fucking Legos, and that's neat. I kind of really wanted them to smash it though. That would have been even better. I don't know. It would have been kind of a neat thing to be sort of like introduce
Look
like
at
a
this Lego
burnout
car we
mechanic,
made.
and like Phil
Destroy
Spencer
it.
brings out like a sledgehammer or something and goes, and that means, and he just throws a sledgehammer at the car and it just breaks. That would have been great to like announce a way that your car, because like that's one of my big problems with Forza is that it's actually is a motorsport game. But the game that like their spin-off series, Horizon, isn't a motorsports game technically. You just compete in like urban events or like what have you, sort of racing events and like at a festival that you do.
They still do regular Forza games?
Yeah, it's intermittent. Every other year there's an actual Forza title, and then in between those it's a Forza Horizon title.
So there's 2 Forza games a year?
There's one a year. And
It doesn't seem like it's been 8 years since the first Forza Horizon came out.
Well, I mean, we're at Horizon 4 right now.
Yeah.
Currently, I think the gap between the first one and the second one was more than a year, like 2 years.
Yeah.
It was like, I think in that cycle of things, it was probably like a 3-year jump, and then after the 3rd year, it was every other year that it came out.
The only Forza game I really played was Forza 4.
Forza 4 is good.
Because I got it for free with my Xbox.
Yeah. But Forza Horizon 4 looks absolutely fantastic. I kind of wish they would have shown more of like the locale, because it's usually like their big thing is where they're at, what the cover car is, and what are they adding to the game that makes the races more interesting than the actual motorsport itself. So it's like, I mean, I don't know. It'll definitely be something that I get in the near future when it comes out. But
I thought Forza 3 like just came out like a few months ago.
Horizon 3 came out 2 years ago.
Because I remember the trailer that was like, we're changing the seasons or whatever. It was
that was Forza. I don't really get the motorsports anymore. I'm more of a Horizon kind of guy now. But that was Motorsport 8. I believe 7 or 8, one of those. That was that one. So this year's Horizon's turn. Thought it was pretty cool. The Lego thing was amazing looking. Honestly, driving through Lego City and shit, that was cool. But I guess other than that, the Project Scarlet, I guess that shit was from what they said about it, their claims on it are pretty impressive. Sounds like next gen. Reading into it a little bit more, I don't know if the article is correct or not. I didn't skim into it super well, like read into it well, but it did seem that like we're going to get a cap of 120 frames. Like that's how far you can push the console is 120 is what they're going at this point, with a minimum of 60 frames. All the games are going to run at 60 apparently, with the processor that they have in there, which. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big like advocate for like frame rate, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't really care that much.
Because I mean, it's like fighting games.
Fighting games
kind of matters.
Fighting games, like a few things here and there, shooters, that sort of thing, but mostly competitive. Anything that has a competitive thing like, to it that's not like a sport.
I'm playing Mario Maker. I don't
whatever.
need 120 frames per second.
Exactly, but I mean like. I don't know. I hate how they have to strive to make that a selling point for a console, because like games can drop. It's like not usually the console's fault. It's usually the game's fault, programming wise. Like that's usually just how it ends up, and those decisions that they make cause frame drops, whatever. Because I mean, there have been 60 FPS game like hard 60 FPS games for ages. Like, Super Smash Bros. Melee is completely 60 frames. And that's a fucking GameCube launch game, basically. Like, and I can't stress that enough how important... It's important to have, at least 30. Because that is at least doable.
No, I'm on 30.
Anything that drops below 30 can get rough, obviously. Anything that's above it is overkill, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, you can see a visible difference. But overall, it's not going to make the biggest difference out of a lot of things that they could do.
The human eye can't even process past 60 frames per second.
You can definitely see it, but it's such a minimal difference that it's not.
Obviously you see it, but you can't it won't look any different to you, even if your brain says, "Oh, there's a difference."
But that I think that was really it on the Microsoft conference. I'm pretty sure. That mattered. They didn't do anything for Sea of Thieves or For Honor like they did last year.
That's Ubisoft.
Well, last year they did, when Marching Fire came out, Microsoft announced Marching Fire, and then it was Ubisoft that covered it more.
Yeah.
Which was kind of weird, but whatever. But yeah, that was really it. And then the next one of the night was Bethesda's, which yeah, Richard, I guess you can start us off because this is your conference.
I gotta start.
Look, everyone,
the
don't
best
click
game,
off.
Nah, this is the best game. They talk. No. The best game.
Oh
The
no!
whole conference
Oh, I know where he's going.
has to be Commander Keen.
That shit.
That game's gonna be absolutely amazing. Totally not sarcasm. Gonna be the best game, and I'm gonna play it.
I like how they put that out on the conference, and the lady that was the spokesperson for it
Dude.
was just talking, trying to say things to get a reaction out of people.
Yeah.
And they I couldn't tell if they had placed people in the audience
Commander Keen.
to be like, we'll get you good seats, or we'll sit you up close, or we'll pay you if you're fucking just overly hype about everything. Because that was the only conference that
Bethesda audience. Hella hype.
I didn't notice it when we were watching it, but I watched the PewDiePie video of him reviewing
Yeah.
E3. And the Bethesda conference, whenever they mentioned anything about the Elsewhere DLC or Blades, there was someone in the audience that was like, "Yeah!"
Yeah.
Louder than everyone else.
It was Tom Howard himself.
There's a
Say Tom.
there's a dude Todd. There's a dude.
Same guy.
There was a
He is
dude
the
that was wearing like a
legendary Todd Howard.
Fallout
Yeah,
76
I did.
jumpsuit in the audience, and like I was watching the Maximilian video catching up today on like just YouTube in general since I've kind of been off of it for a fucking week. Sorry for the late uploads, everyone, but I was sitting there and like he was like pausing the video every time because there was legitimately this crowd, like small crowd in the audience that were clearly like trying to be like fucking like initiators for like cheering and shit. Like you could tell that they were very clearly either they were planning to do that, like Bethesda was, or just they were, because like literally the moment Todd Howard came on the screen, like came on the stage, they like stood up in a standing ovation and just started clapping.
Okay, you gotta understand. There's two different sides to the whole Bethesda thing. And there's the people that think Todd Howard is literal God,
Yes.
aka me.
That takes a little.
And then the other side
sorry.
of people in which they just absolutely despise Todd Howard and think he's awful.
Because they didn't get their canvas bag, bro.
Look, man. They
I mean, they got a bag. It's just not the bag they wanted.
They're getting it, though.
Yeah, they're getting it.
It's a fucking Walmart thank you bag with a fucking Fallout 74.
I guess we're going right into
sticker
Fallout
on it.
76, huh? Nuclear Winter's cool. We're happy that they're doing stuff. They're trying to do what people want, and it's free.
We tried it out. Yeah, it's very nice. It's actually really cool.
Whether
Thanks, Colton.
But what happens if you nuke Pleasant Point? I keep
Pleasant
getting this
Point?
fucking recommended video in my YouTube. Every day I see this. It's titled like Fallout 76. What happens if you nuke Pleasant Point?
what?
I don't know what it is. I never have watched a Fallout 76 video in my life, but
We know you don't like it. It's fine. I understand.
I mean,
But it's not for
don't
everyone.
you squiggle.
It's
I mean, it's really not. But and yes, out of context, if you watch, like if you haven't played the game, the things that they are adding other than the battle royale mode, which I'll get to that in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Out of context, if you haven't kept up with the game or know what it's really about, the things that they are adding other than the battle royale mode are like super basic things that you would think that every RPG would have.
yeah.
To be fair, though, it's an online one, and that's why they weren't.
Of
It
course,
was
yeah.
definitely not the main focus of the game.
Yeah.
The reason they're adding it is because it's a whole. Basically, it's what people initially were mad about is that there wasn't a single player, and there's no NPCs or like choices that you can make via your stats.
Yeah.
So basically, this is them being like, all right, we get it. We fucked up. It's not what you guys wanted. We're getting there. We're going to make it better. That's kind of the goal that they've had with it. They because they knew it was going to be a rough start. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, everyone has to play Fallout 76 or anything like that.
Every
It is a bad game.
Every game they've ever released has been
Been a rough
No, I know.
start.
No,
Like,
I get
yeah.
that. No, I get that.
because they have this mentality of they'll release it, then they'll patch it,
Yeah,
over time.
which is, I
You
mean, to
can't
be
do
fair,
that
that's
with a
not just
multiplayer
them,
game.
Yeah, you really can't.
though. That's not just them, though. That's a lot of game companies nowadays, which is what sucks.
true.
Like, in general. But either way, like I still like the game with hands fun. But anyway.
Well, holy shit. Y'all may think it's stupid. Y'all may think it's not like a needed thing and it's kind of unnecessary, but oh my fucking Christ, the nuclear winter thing is like everything. Like,
it's pretty cool.
Is the only thing that makes me want to play Battle Royales. It was like the only thing that, like, it's the closest thing comparable to the fucking Minecraft Hunger Games that you can get. Like, I don't know, like something about our Hunger Game, like the Hunger Games map or whatever, where like the style that like I had been making it in, where it's like everyone just kind of fucking walks around and there's shit to interact with, like the actual game plus all the game, like it's the game itself of the battle royale / Hunger Games / thing or whatever. It's like everything. Like the only problem I've ever had with any battle royales is that I needed an actual shooting engine and not a fucking like basic bare bones like how Fortnite is, and how like how H1 is, PUBG, like all those are like really dumb. But like Apex Legends got that shit because it's the Titanfall 2 engine, and that shit has a pretty solid shooting engine. COD's Blackout was, until Nuclear Winter came out, was probably my favorite one. Honestly, just because of the shooting in general was actually felt accurate and not like just a sloppy fucking mess.
Hold the trigger and pray.
Yeah, but the Nuclear Winter one has an actual shooting engine. It has like actual like good, like a good map with like balanced things just thrown randomly in there every now and then, and there's actual things to fight other than actual people. Which what makes it an actual experience that I wanted to do all along. Because
it's not walking in a desert simulator.
Yeah,
where you're just like, I can't find anyone and I'm doing nothing.
Yeah,
no, you can find like.
If anything, Fallout 76 may not capture it, but like Nuclear Winter in the short time that the games are, because the games are generally a little bit quicker, but you still get time to explore and stuff. You get more. I feel like you get more of a Fallout experience from Nuclear Winter right now than you do the actual game. Like, and that is like my sole opinion. Like, you walk around, random shit happens. Like,
I don't think that's really a Fallout experience, though.
I mean, I feel like it's a Bethesda experience where you go.
I guess
you walk around like you walk around and like shit happens and creatures are just kind of around. They don't really spawn in specific areas, really, like unlike 76 where they basically essentially do spawn in specific areas.
They don't anymore.
They have like MMO sort of spawners, I guess, in a sense, for just terminology wise.
Destroy the mob spawner.
But yeah, whatever. but like I feel like Nuclear Winter just captures the game a little bit better than the actual game right now until they add more shit. But that was really about it. And it was fun. And we won. We won a game. So I'm okay with it.
Royale.
But I actually don't remember what the victory thing's called. But anyway,
it's just, I think it's just like
Overseer. Oh yeah, because you're trying to be Overseer of Vault 52.
So you become the Overseer.
52.
Yeah. But that's basically everything Fallout 76.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, they didn't really have a lot via like the actual conference, so.
Then they did Elder Scrolls Online, and there was a dude that was just constantly Super Saiyan powering up and going, yes!
A lot of people like the game.
It had to be,
it's a very
it had to be
popular game,
ironic.
yeah.
He had to be trolling about it because
I don't think
no
so,
one
and
would
that's
be
the
that
sad
excited.
He had a backwards snapback, and he was like, very clearly, like, I'm pretty sure he had a vape in hand. So I'm pretty sure he was ready for it. He wanted that Elder Scrolls Online.
He paid
Probably
for
had a
the
monster.
ticket, the plane ticket to
His name
E3,
was Kyle.
the tickets to E3 just for Elder Scrolls Online.
What, Richard?
He went to E3 for that.
Thinking about
That
that
was his
makes
whole
my
weekend.
arteries clog.
Anyway,
That was his whole weekend.
You know, no, but honestly, the Elsewhere thing's cool, and they actually announced a lot of really cool stuff that could be coming to it. Okay.
Ooh. Why is that?
Because I have wanted to see Elsewhere for so long because they talk about it in all the other Elder Scrolls games about how it's like full of all different kinds of Khajiit.
Choked on everything.
There's like big like elephant-sized Khajiit that are like tigers, like there's like 6 different species of Khajiit, and they all live in Elsewhere. And then they finally release an Elsewhere expansion, and it's just
Dragons.
they just show a dragon.
It's just Skyrim. I'm pretty
I
sure.
don't care
I'm like
about dragons anymore.
I'm like almost positive that Alduin from Skyrim is in that game, in that expansion somehow. And I do not get that because like I feel like they're supposed to canonically match up with the whole like the game, like Elder Scrolls Online has a place in the lore.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't make sense for like Alduin to be awake because it's the whole thing. They're like asleep for a really long time and then they're awakened during the Skyrim times or whatever.
Does Elder Scrolls Online happen like that far in the past?
It's like 2,000 years, I think.
Maybe it is like the first time
It wakes up, I guess.
Awake.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, in Skyrim they talk about the first time he woke up.
Well, yeah,
Holy
but
shit,
they were
it was
like,
fucked.
that was a fucking long time ago, is what they say. Like,
2,000 years is pretty fucking long.
well, I mean, like a long, like when like Talos was like a thing. So like, however long that was in that lore.
Man, I haven't
So
played
did
enough yet, so.
Remember exist in there? Did they fuck off to the other dimension by that point yet?
Like, I don't know. But anyway,
There was Doom Eternal, which was pretty sick.
Doom Eternal, baby. I'm getting Doom 2016. I neglected that game. I felt bad. The fucking soundtrack is a fucking banger, dude. Sorry, banger.
Yeah, I watched a playthrough of Doom 2016. Jesus,
That
fuck,
game
game
is fucking
wild.
fantastic.
It looks beautiful.
It's and like Doom Eternal is only that much better, and I'm so excited. The reason why I was turned off a little bit by the 2016 rendition is because they took away a lot of they made it a modern video game, where it's just like you're the dude and you pick up weapons and stuff on the ground or whatever, and story stuff happens. But this one seems like they took a step like way backwards and like mixed it with the modern age stuff. Cause there's like some video gamey ass like just assets just floating around, like the guns that just sort of like float around and stuff. Like it has that sort of like that vibe where it's like it's a video game, not just like a dude punching someone over and over.
Yeah.
Like in the same killing animation over and over. And they added like the mechanics where you like scale to the wall and cling to it, like all the jumping acrobatic stuff. Like that's really fucking cool. Like I feel like the original Dooms on like PC and stuff, you were kind of like floaty a little bit, like in your movement, like you were very like speedy.
It's like you were on ice.
Yeah, and Doom 2016 didn't really have that. It was just kind of like its own thing, which was fine. But like Doom Eternal, I feel like is the best step in any direction they could have taken. Honestly, that shit's fucking.
I just
wild.
had a realization that we need to backtrack.
What's up?
We need to talk about Gears 5.
I'd rather.
And the only reason I mentioned this is because it was the year of Terminator.
Oh yeah. So just so everyone knows, if you didn't watch anything at E3, for some reason the E3 of 2019 just had some weird Terminator undertone to it. Because every single fucking game was throwing Terminator in it. Like, it got to the point where after, like, the second thing that had anything Terminator related to it, we were like, and here's also Terminator, the skin. Like, you can get for $699, $1,000. But, Gears 5, yeah, flashbacking, I guess, just because it's at least more, it's just weird how they did it.
It's just because
the teaser trailer for Gears 5. The fucking Billie Eilish music video is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It
Very
wasn't
confusing.
It was like a bad remix of the song. It wasn't even the real song.
Bad. It was so bad. I'm not a Billie Eilish fan, so I couldn't tell
I am.
that it wasn't a remix. So that I was just like, this is awful. Like this whole thing is just awful. So I'm like not a fan. What the hell are you putting on my microphone, dude?
I didn't do anything on your microphone.
I don't see. Okay, I don't see anything. We're good. But anyway.
Crinkle.
Oh. But yeah, I guess flashing back to the Bethesda thing. They added the multiplayer mode to Doom Eternal. That shit looks wild. I feel like there were a couple of claims that some people on the couch that were present that were made.
All you guys.
that were made. Yeah, totally. Me and Rallen made that big claim of it's bad.
Who's Ron?
I said Rallen. Did it sound like Ron?
Yeah.
Call
Me
me
and Ron.
Jeremy.
But I think that was really it about the multiplayer mode. It seemed kind of interesting. At the very least, anyway. I wouldn't see myself playing it like constantly or whatever. It seemed like it would get kind of stale after a bit. But overall, I think it was pretty neat. Maybe Doom guy for Mortal Kombat, maybe? Question mark? Possibility?
I did have a complaint with Bethesda in that it sucked when the whole thing glitched and they spawned a Deathclaw right in the middle of the audience. I don't think that was in plan, but...
What the fuck kind of weird bit are you trying to make?
Nice, Michael. Nice.
When you talk about Bethesda, you have to mention glitches because that's what they're known for.
I guess.
Some good, some bad.
Oh, and also on Bethesda, they announced the Orion thing.
Oh, yeah, the streaming service.
Yeah.
Which was like, what the fuck was it? It's like latency. It's like it was like a latency, like, distributor, I guess, service where it's like streaming, but it's like primary focus is like latency, like focused, so that way you don't fucking lose that shit while you're doing things or whatever.
Yeah.
It seemed pretty neat. We'll see where it goes. But somebody else did a streaming. Oh yeah, Xbox also revealed their Game Pass thing, which isn't technically new, I guess. But
no, but I mean they announced a lot of stuff on it, and that they're gonna have like new games on it too, which is
and they said that it's
and it's on
PC.
Yeah. So there's that.
And the leading, starting with Halo Reach, the entire Master Chief collection on PC.
Yeah. Was there starting with Halo Reach?
Yeah.
Which is gonna be great. But
they're still hiding in the cave, bro.
He is not. He's about to come out. But
He's coming.
that was it for Bethesda.
They did
really.
the Blades on Switch.
Yeah, Blades on the Switch.
Well, they did do that, didn't they? I saw
Tokyo.
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah, Ghostwire.
And that actually
Tokyo.
looked kind of cool.
The lady came out. I always forget her name, and she was like spooky. And then that was the game. It looked neat at least. It's made by the same people who made The Evil Within. So
that game is spooky.
That game is only slightly spooky, yeah, just a little bit. Just a tad. But we'll probably get more word on that, probably on a Days of Play or something in the near future, assuming that they're going to be doing one in the near future. Maybe not. Maybe they just said, fuck it, they'll figure it out. But who knows?
Surprise, the game dropped today, buy it now.
Yeah. But that's really it for Bethesda.
I think so.
I mean, if nothing's coming up, I feel like it's not important to talk about at this point. We cover the fucking streaming service, like.
I mean, I just did because I was actually kind of interested in it.
Yeah.
I don't know, I could talk about Blades all night, dude.
Me too! Let's talk about Blades more! But, I guess Ubisoft was next? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Because we ended up watching that one late. Colton, did you watch Ubisoft's? What did you think?
I think Watch Dogs Legion was the best game at all.
You can make a gang of grandmas.
I don't want to say it was the best game at E3, but we were definitely fucking laughing our asses off over the grandma shit.
That is definitely a Donovan game.
Fucking grandma only run.
Yeah.
In case you don't know what we're talking about, Watch Dogs has like a side. I'm saying it's a side game. Yeah, that's probably the best thing I can come up with.
I think it takes into place in the future of the first two.
I don't know, but like, well,
it's not
a true sequel.
Yeah,
it's
not Watch Dogs 3. It's Watch Dogs Legion,
yeah.
And it's basically the whole point is any NPC in the game you can play as.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy.
And they all have like you scan them and they have like their own stats and stuff, and it was really cool. And the fact that, like, honestly, I gotta say, if you can't play as they have to have, like, secret characters.
I want to play as a dog.
Like, Ubisoft games always put, like, other characters from the other games in there.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of neat, like, I was kind of just, like, thinking about it the other day. It'd be kind of neat if, like, they put, like, fucking, like Assassin's Creed characters in there just randomly.
Yeah.
Like, not like the actual, like, ancient time ones, but, like, the ones in the past, but like the ones that go in the Animus and stuff that get the training from being in there. Like, it'd be kind of neat to see, like, you know, like even though he's like technically dead, because all the games are connected. So like Far Cry characters and like all the modern day Assassin's Creed people, Tom Clancy people.
Yo,
Be kind of cool if we
can we find
Sam
Tom
Fisher
Clancy himself?
Oh, we also first talk about Gears of War Pop figure game.
I'm not talking about that. but yeah, fucking I don't know. It like they really have a habit of doing that, so I feel like it'd be kind of neat to like collect all the secret people. Yeah. Like, I mean, how neat would it be to have like fucking find Sam Fisher walking around, and then be like you just play Splinter Cell with him.
Splinter Cell's dead.
I mean, it is arguably like it's pretty fucking dead.
Dude, I want to find.
It would be a neat Easter egg. Also, if you can't play as a baby or a dog, I'm out.
Super.
Well, honestly, though, I thought about it like just a moment ago. But the game, like, just from the idea that you can like scan people and kind of figure out what they're like, in a sense, thinking. Not really.
Yeah.
Kind of made me think of like Destroy All Humans, kind of, where you can like.
Which they announced a remake.
They did.
Did they really?
Yeah. They announced a remake that day, I think.
That's cool.
That day or a day before or something like that.
But it's just that idea of you can just kind of walk around and be like, all right, this person's kind of like this, and blah blah blah.
And death is permanent. If someone dies, they're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is kind of neat.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta play smart.
Kill everyone. Just lose the game.
So what happens if you run out of people? You don't have...
I don't think you can physically run out of people.
Well, no, I'm guessing you can. I feel like you can.
Maybe.
Because you can, like, not recruit and then just die.
I guess that's another thing. They're all about secret endings, right? So.
It's just how... Like, there's going to be a lot of people, obviously, because the whole population of the city is going to be playable.
Well, it's not like everyone. It's like, it's everyone that's like at a neutral stance in the political
Every
situation.
non-playable character. So, like, any character that's not, like, in the story, technically, would be playable. So, some guy walking down the street, you can be like, alright, let's recruit that guy.
Yeah.
Every cutscene is going to be different depending on what characters you're playing.
Yeah.
So there's going to be literally millions of cutscene combinations.
Honestly, this game definitely feels like a game they've been technically working on the side on for a while now, which kind of explains why Watch Dogs 2 was kind of like a watered down, like, fucking mess of a game. Like, not mess of a game, that's not really the right term I'm looking for, but, like, very uninspired. Like, it's just very coattail writing of the first game, and it just doesn't seem very interesting at all from the surface level. Sure. Whereas Watch Dogs 1 at least seemed interesting, so.
But yeah, no, it looks cool though. I'm trying to think.
Sorry, we were looking at the gamer. Me and Rallen were looking at the gamer counter. We're at 35 left.
You just said it twice.
God damn it, 33. Anyway. Anyway, but was there anything else at the fucking Ubisoft conference?
Yeah, I thought Ghost Recon looked kind of cool.
Which
for a Ghost Recon game.
Which technically I didn't look at that too much because I was too busy fucking just talking over it because I'm not a huge Ubisoft person at all.
Panzer Dragoon, was that?
No, it was Nintendo.
Oh, I'm blending the days together now. Yeah.
What did you just say?
We'll get to it, but
that's neat.
But I don't know. It's supposed to be like a Wildlands sequel in a sense.
Yeah.
Which is like.
But I thought just it looked neat.
I hope they do another beta. Because fucking around on that game when it was a broken mess was like the funnest thing ever.
Was a fun game.
Yeah, Wildlands.
I mean, it was alright. It was alright. I gave it a fair chance. It just didn't really. It was not really a game that like I would normally just pay money for, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's very much a game that I would pretty much only play for free. But I did at least see some interest in it because it's a game that you can fuck around with your friends on.
Exactly.
That's really about it.
But
that only takes it so far for me.
Personally, I like John Bernthal. I think he's a decent actor when it comes to roles. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
And Walking Dead guy.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But, so I don't know. I thought it was neat.
Also, was it that game that they announced a Terminator thing for, or was it the Siege thing?
I don't remember if Ubisoft had a Terminator thing.
I think they did. I'm pretty sure Ubisoft had like I think it was the Rainbow Six Siege like zombie spin-off game?
Maybe.
Where they had like Terminator just thrown in every day.
I think so,
there was
yeah.
a Terminator just in there somewhere in the game.
It's like, where's Waldo Bo Terminator?
Yeah, pretty much.
There he is.
Dun 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 dun.
But no, and that looks cool just because I did play Siege and they started off with like a little mini game in it that was like the zombie mode.
Yeah, it was like
and it was kind of cool.
It's like a limited event thing, yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, like it's whatever. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not something I'm like that's something.
It's
I'm
not
like, super pumped for.
I wouldn't see a $60 price tag on
I'm trying
that.
to think of what else because I know there was something else, but I can't remember it. So I don't think it was something I cared.
Just Dance 2020
On the Wii.
played that.
On the Wii.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Doug Bowser declared it to be on the Wii.
On the Wii, but not the Wii U. Notice how they completely said, fuck the Wii
Yeah,
U.
because
It
fuck
doesn't
the Wii.
exist.
The
It doesn't
console
exist.
hardly sold.
The top comment of the Ubisoft conference that I watched on YouTube, the top comment said, they're really putting Just Dance on the Wii again.
But, yeah, they played some fucking Panic at the Disco song that I literally can't handle listening to because it gives me a physical migraine. And then, I muted the audio and we watched an amalgamation of all of the other cringy characters over the last like 6 years from the Just Dance fucking
Universe.
thing. Yeah, the Just Dance cinematic universe. Dance on the screen and then they were done.
I didn't even watch it.
was
We
it.
fast forwarded through that shit.
We
We didn't
did.
even watch it.
We did, yeah. What else? I think that was it for Ubisoft, really. That strikes a chord anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, the Jet Set basketball roller derby.
Oh, that's right. What was it called?
Jet Set Radio basketball roller derby. Rolls right off the tongue. Roller League.
That's
Oh,
honestly, it's not
yeah,
what it is.
But it's
It's
kind of like
roller
that.
something.
It's
I think.
something like that.
Roller
But it kinda
champions or
looks
roller
neat.
champs, something like that.
That kind of sounds
Something like
familiar,
that.
but I don't know. Either way, it looked at least kind of interesting. Definitely like a Rocket League-esque kind of game.
But people on roller
But
skates.
it's like a roller derby with that like weird Aztec, like or not Aztec, that Mayan like sport where they throw the ball into the hoop on the side of the thing and then whoever loses dies. But
Yeah.
you know, but and it seemed at least slightly interesting. I don't know. It seems like a game that they should probably pump out for free, like Rocket League.
Yeah.
Like, it's honestly, because when that game came out for free, that like Rocket League is an unbelievably huge success in terms of like
I didn't get it for free.
we should have been on.
I didn't either. So
Same.
I spent $20 on it.
Yeah, but it definitely is one of those games that feels like it would be that in that realm of like
Realm.
that good old realm. But yeah, I don't really see much more out of that one though. Michael, you okay?
Oh, I didn't want to sneeze towards the mic,
Oh,
but it
Sneeze
went
Town.
away.
I see.
Oh, it went away.
After the Ubisoft conference, there was the Square Enix one.
Yep.
Which I feel. Wait a minute, we need to go back. Devolver Digital.
Yeah.
No, we don't. We don't need to go back.
Cringe Fest. Devolver Digital came through once again with continuing the story from last year.
It was
Of
100 times worse.
of the CEO being built like a Terminator. They did the Terminator bit at the Devolver Digital. That's where the second one was.
Okay.
They did the Terminator bit in that at the end because for some reason every fucking person on the I don't know if the people who owned the rights to Terminator were like who was like it's open right now and they were like, hey y'all, just so you know, if you want to incorporate Terminator for this year's E3, feel free to go right ahead, bro. What's on us, the Terminator guys.
I forget which.
It is Roller Champions, by the way.
That's
Roller
Ah,
Champions. Yeah, you're right.
There was one. Remember when we saw it was like they panned to the crowd. There was just one guy who said that's probably one of the shareholders. Who's in there. That was the guy who paid that Terminator and every fucking thing.
There's the dude that was just like way overdressed for E3.
You just sitting there looking at like
sitting amongst a bunch
yes.
of people with like tattoos and vapes in their hand and like very gamer girl, gamer like accessory. Fuck. I'm not saying it anymore.
That was 3. We're at 30 now.
We have to beat Phil Spencer's. Wait, how are we counting down from 49 or up to 49?
Counting down from 49.
Okay, thank God. We have a lot of room left over. But so yeah, but that was Devolver Digital. They announced quite a few things that were like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. The Messenger has a new DLC coming out that's like supposed to be like a joke / not joke of like a tropical like beach episode of like an anime.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. They have the Devolver bootleg, I guess,
which is funny as shit.
Is pretty fucking funny. Get on Steam, just a package of all of their games that they have, but slightly altered to be like bootleg versions of them. And they announced a fucking arcade cabinet for Enter the Gungeon, which, by the way, for how limited those things are going to be made, it's very cheap, honestly.
How much was it?
For usually for an arcade cabinet that size, like that's like made pretty widely manufactured, it's like 5,000. Mm-hmm. That one is 5,000. They're not gonna make too many of those, so that like collectors value wise, like who people collect arcade cabinets and stuff, that will have like a shit ton of value to it, like ridiculously so.
We should call Funhouse and make
also,
them buy one. So
straight up.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
good.
I mean,
that's
you
the thing
really
we
wanted
forgot
to get
as well. An actually important thing back on the Microsoft thing, at least important to me. Double Fine partnered with them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting.
What are they?
Psychonauts
Gang
2.
Beasts, Psychonauts.
Rad's coming out.
Rad looks neat.
That game looks fucking fantastic.
You don't care about it, but I do. I think Double Fine's great. But
yeah, Richard's very big advocate for all of those games. So.
Especially Gang Beasts.
Yes.
That game's great.
No.
And then a game that's kind of similar, not really, but that I found interesting in Devolver's thing is Fall Guys. I just thought that looked kind of neat.
What the fuck was that again?
Yeah, so with the dudes that are like falling down
and
the
I was
thing,
like,
it's like a race
I was
kind
like,
of thing.
What is this?
Really
That
neat.
fucking reminded me of that Nick Jr. show with like all
Yeah.
the fucking Weeble Wobble dudes. What the fuck they're called? Bug Boos.
What was that?
I don't know.
Bebo. What was it?
Oh Christ! You're so close to the name. It's giving me a migraine. Please stop. That was basically it for Devolver Digital. Theirs is always like 30 minutes and they're done. Like it's never like a long thing.
Booba.
Booba, yeah, dude, that was the shit.
No.
They don't speak. They literally just floated around and made noises for however long
for some
the
reason,
show
the
lasted.
episode
my mom
was.
told me that I
What the
fucking
fuck?
loved that show for some reason. I don't remember it, but apparently I loved it. I don't know.
Richard likes Booba.
Hell yeah, dude.
But I think that was it really, and Ubisoft's kind of already covered itself really. It's so hard to talk about Ubisoft games because I was making this complaint at the thing. I get it that a lot of people won't agree with me, but I feel like ever since Splinter Cell went quiet, every Tom Clancy game just seems like you're this like the story is just you're this modern soldier guy that fights terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, so I have to talk about this because we mentioned it earlier, and of course, just because it's funny. On my Google like recommended like articles stuff, one of them is at long last the Canvas Fallout 76 bags have arrived.
That's
One more
fucking
bag.
fantastic. Give me my bag.
Anyway,
Where my bag at? But
Where my bag is?
back on topic now.
Square Enix. Oh my Christ! There is so much that I could probably make an entire other video about that like whole thing. And honestly, like as much I mean everyone who's watching now that has been watching for a while, you know I'm a Final Fantasy person. So I'm going hands down Square Enix was not just for Final Fantasy reasons, but just for many reasons. It was the best press conference at E3 for like way too many reasons. It's ridiculous. But we got Final Fantasy 14 stuff, obviously not going in order. And they showed off a pretty hefty trailer, honestly, which is Okay, I'll take it.
I'm cool with it because I get gun sword stuff.
Hell yeah. We got
Neat.
the neglected fucking stepchild of the Final Fantasy classic games, Final Fantasy VIII, has finally been made. Like, yeah, again.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, they might as well call it a remake. Mostly because of the fact that they lost their coding for it, for the game.
Yeah.
Whenever the transfer went over, it just went. It was gone.
Died.
Yeah, the game just died because they were like, guys, we don't have this game anymore. So that's why it's not on anything at all, because all the other ones are, but that one's like the neglected stepchild. I'm stroking out apparently, talking about Final Fantasy.
You
But,
funky fuckers.
Yes, funky fuckers. Then we had the Final Fantasy VII Remake information that they have been silent on for literally like 4 years. I think I remember announcing that. I remember like they announced that game. And on announcement during like the Game Awards, me and Cole were sitting down here in this basement at like 11 at night. And I just got so hyped, I screamed and was just doing push-ups profusely until the trailer stopped. I didn't even see the trailer, really. Like, I'm so excited for this game, and I've always hated 7. Like, 7 has never been one of my favorites, like, ever.
That's why they had to make it completely different.
I mean, I'm just gonna say exactly, because honestly, the story for that game is so fucking convoluted and messy, they just need to make a definitive story for it, call it good. Also, this is going to be the only game on this current generation that has more than one disc.
2 discer.
Like in the sense
Still
of...
calling it, dude. 5 seconds of it. It's the first disc.
Like in the sense of
rest.
one disc is not a download disc. It's a... Like both discs are like... It's kind of like how the original Final Fantasy VII was, where it was just like disc 1, disc 2, and that's it. This is the first... I think this is the first game on this current gen that's had that. So, I now have a mission, and instead of talking about how great the reveal was and everything, because there's literally way too much, I could spend a fucking hour and a half talking about this if I really wanted to. But, they, like, I'm not even gonna go on the tangent. I just have a mission. I need to get as many gigabytes off of my console as possible, and I need to do that by actually finishing games for once. So I'm gonna work on that shit, and yes, we're gonna actually be streaming regularly on Sundays again. It's been a hectic couple of months, but I finally have it in the grasp of my hands that I can do that.
Let's finish Red Dead so you can delete it.
Yes,
That's
please.
half your hard drive right there.
Literally. So yeah, that's that'll clear up a lot, and I need to get 15 off my console. After I get platinum, I need to get a lot of things off, but I'm hitting them as I go. But we'll get it, and it'll be fine, and that, I swear to Christ, that game will be amazing and all that. But that can hold off, because the greatest thing they announced at Square Enix was technically the Avengers game, which is something we had been waiting for ever since they fucking just dropped a dumb teaser that meant literally nothing to us at the time. Like many, many years ago. And that's finally, now that we're getting it and we see it, we've seen gameplay. A lot of people are saying, oh, they didn't show gameplay, they just showed cutscenes. You can definitely tell there's some gameplay in there. But it is technically the first trailer, so please give them a break, I guess.
I actually didn't really watch that, so what kind of a game is it?
So it's
multiplayer.
Yeah, so it's just it's like a
4-player multiplayer.
No, I was just starting
Yeah.
it, so it's multiplayer.
It's a
4 people
multiplayer
max.
co-op game.
Yeah.
In which it's basically just like the Spider-Man PS4 game,
Oh yeah.
but you just play online with your friends with different superheroes.
But only
The
I
way
believe
that
they mentioned they were gonna add
There
like,
should be
more than
the
just
five
the 5
I mean,
original
people.
they're
shows,
adding
not
Ant-Man
including Hawkeye.
initially anyway.
But you only have to
Right.
play with 4 people.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They're gonna be adding characters and stuff to a roster as they go. So I'm going to assume this is going to be like a mission-based
What-
game, like
What
a
I
campaign.
honestly see it as is like friend or foe, kind of, but with the Avengers.
Yeah.
Or why do you
play that fucking game?
Just play Marvel Lego superheroes. Same thing.
I mean,
I mean, you're not kind of, in a way you're not
Nah,
wrong,
dude.
because I guarantee you the game will be campaign. There will be a campaign that you can play through, that will pretty much have the replayability of a Halo campaign, I guess. So you play it every now and then. So you do have like some replayability there, but it will be probably mission based in some way.
Yeah.
As well, and they did say that they didn't really say anything really about how the game was going to be presented to us.
Nope.
There was a couple of ways people have been kind of floating it around, that it's either going to be like a service game where like you pay for it digitally, like it's like a digital game, like an MMO, or it's going to be a game that you just pick up for $60 and then just have it just to have it, because they did announce that all the characters and missions that go along with them will be free as they add them. So all that will be free. And we already had like a glimpse of some of the characters that they're adding. They had a teaser for, well, not a teaser, but like just a trailer for the introduction of Hank Pym, or in this instance is going to be Ant-Man. He'll be playing Ant-Man. And then there's like a screenshot of like Black Panther in the background in one of the images.
We also saw War Machine, not certain, but it looked like him.
War Machine.
It could have been Vision.
War Machine or Vision. It was definitely like a, I don't know.
It looked like bulky Iron Man. Is my point.
Or it could have been Falcon. Anyone that like sort of flies. The picture was kind of a little rough. It didn't look like Iron Man. That's just why I say that.
I thought it did.
I don't remember.
Is it made by Disney?
No, Square Enix.
Well, I mean, like, is it under Disney?
Crystal Dynamics.
So that means they can include other, like, X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Yep,
Probably.
absolutely, yeah. That would be the plan, I guess.
I'm trying to remember
For that.
If it's 4 players, Fantastic Four
Or-
makes sense.
Yeah, would be neat. I'll play his Rubber Man. But
I'll play as Chris Evans.
But God, that game just seems so promising. I don't
Human
get
Torch / Cap.
it. Got
Human Cat.
it's got like a couple of fucking
Cap.
bad rep sort of things already, because we've had a lot of people complaining that the actors' likenesses aren't MCU related, which
Sure,
I mean
looks fine.
honestly doesn't seem like a valid argument. I feel like I don't know.
I don't like how Bruce Banner looks. He looks kind of like,
What?
the fuck are you
He kind of
doing?
looks more like him than anything else, honestly.
And anyone that complains about Captain America is dumb, because he just looks like Captain America. Like, he looks generic blonde.
I
that's
guess
buff.
the complaint comes from the fact that the costumes are MCU inspired, but at the same time, like, Cap's costume doesn't look like anything he's ever worn in the MCU. It looks kind of like the Winter Soldier outfit that he wears like the one in Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But not really. It's got like a few more like bells and whistles kind of attached to it for flavor text, I guess, on there. Like a few more like straps. It doesn't have the star on it really. It's all.
It's because he has like some body armor over his
Yeah,
shirt.
it's like an actually like different costume. So, and they did say it was their like the team's interpretation of the characters. So I feel like the liberties are taken just only slightly, which is very apparent considering the visuals. I mean, fuck, the voice acting cast is amazing for the initial 5 people.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway. And we got Nolan North as Iron Man. I don't think I'd ever see that, and possibly Nolan North as Deadpool, most
Iron
likely.
Man.
I would assume if they did that.
I don't like Iron Man's design.
Really?
Looks like a hippie.
He does have like the longer hair.
Yeah.
Well, especially when they flash into the future.
Yeah, when they
after
flash
the-
into the future, and they'll most likely have costumes. They said that the game was going to be 0 pay to win, 0 loot box inspired. So like driven. So we're probably not going to get those, but we will probably get the option to unlock and probably purchase costumes. It is a Marvel game after all.
But
So
here, buy this
We
pack
have a lot
that
of-
has like the OG comic idea where you can buy
Yeah.
like original Iron Man or OG.
dude, I
Thor
want to
or
play as
something.
Iron Man. It looks like a Cheeto.
Grey Hulk.
So yeah, but.
Red Hulk.
I mean, it's. I feel like it's definitely the most exciting thing for me, other than like Final Fantasy. Obviously, like Final Fantasy just kind of takes priority in life when it comes to this shit. But like, so it's like on another plane of existence. But when it comes to like snapping back to a game that we can all play and not like a single player driven experience, it's that game is like a no-brainer. I looked around the room as they were talking about it. It was like, so we're all getting this, right? There's no excuse not to get this game. Like, honestly.
But if they don't give me a Hulk skin that's just Lou Ferrigno, I'm out.
I mean,
if
to be
they
fair,
don't
they
give
added
me-
those same rainy
Dude,
suits.
if they don't give me an Iron Man skin that's
Yeah,
just
that's
Terminator, I'm out, dude. It has to be Terminator. It's the only way I'm in. Good Christ.
Future me put the Terminator theme over the outro of this video, just so we can keep it Terminator.
Just have it
themed.
throughout the entire video.
Actually, better yet, future me, do me one better. Just for the thumbnail of this, just find an up close picture of a Terminator, and put E3 over it in MS
Have
Paint.
it is like, yeah.
E3 2019, the Terminator edition. But that was really it for that, like, super matter that was like super pressing and important for the Square Enix one. It was kind of like the way that they introed the Square Enix one is that like they showed the Final Fantasy VII like game over screen where it was like, or not the game over screen, but the screen before you actually get into the game that's like new game, continue, and then it like showed like a remake like thing at the bottom, and there was like sound effects and everything, and everyone creamed, and it was great. But
Ironically,
they
Jack
literally
Black did a video called Creamed at E3.
yeah, that's true. I saw that. They literally started off with Final Fantasy VII, and it was like 30 minutes of the. It was like 30 fucking minutes
That's why I
of
didn't
the
get
press
through
conference.
the Square Enix thing, because I was like watching it out of the corner of my eye, and I was like turning back, like, still Final Fantasy VII.
It was like a sizable portion of it.
Yeah.
And then immediately after that followed Life is Strange, and I was like, I'm sorry, Life is Strange too, but
Damn spirit,
how
dude.
how do you fucking follow that? Like, for
Don't
real.
apologize to that fucking game.
Like, I get it. I don't like the games at all in any shape, way, or form.
I'm not a lesbian girl.
But fuck, man, that like that's almost like fucking cruel.
That's
Where
probably
they were
why-
like,
that's probably
all
why-
right, which announcement's taking the fat L after Final Fantasy
Yeah,
VII
nobody cares
remake?
about Life is Strange
Yeah,
anymore.
how the fuck do you follow that?
They were like, we got Jurgen the Lamb to the slaughter, bro. We don't got anything
Like-
else. It has to be you. We're not
like-
gonna bury Avengers or whatever. It's you. But
I don't think anyone would be able to argue that the Final Fantasy VII portion of that press conference was literally like the best presentation of the entire event of the week. Like, honestly, it was like so much. It was everything that everyone needed, and not too much revealing to the point where the whole game.
Good of an audience, dude.
Yeah, they
Bethesda's audience, and you're good.
Yeah, Bethesda didn't pay people to sit in the crowd and go, yeah!
I don't think they did.
It almost seems like they did, because it was like overly. It's like it was overly.
Please
I
clap.
think it
Too
was just
much.
people being sarcastic.
It might have been. It could have been a fucking handful of things, but I wouldn't be able to tell you. But it definitely did seem like it was over the top. And that may be just, like you said, because of the fan base, or they were like, Todd Howard snuck up on them in the bathroom or something and said,
Hey, I was in the chess club.
hey, do you want to be in the chess club? And he hands out a card that said, like, front row tickets, like it's a code word, and they go, oh, Todd! And he goes, now you're going to cheer really hard tonight. And you'll get a big check.
And a canvas bag.
You'll get a canvas bag, y'all. Suck your dick. And they go,
This is how I won all my chess
yes, Todd
tournaments.
Sama. But,
Why don't you turn to Shaggy there for a second?
I don't know.
I'll suck your dick.
Like, geez, man, I'll suck your canvas bag. Oh, Oh, anything for a canvas bag, am I right? But with a blue canvas bag with yellow on it that says 76.
That's not even what it is.
Was it not?
It's a brown bag.
Is it a brown bag?
Yeah.
The fuck, it's not even Fallout colored.
Right?
What the fuck is the point?
It's not Fallout color.
It's like not the color scheme. The color scheme's like blue and yellow, isn't it?
Yeah,
They're
technically.
Fallout, they're pretty brown. The games are pretty brown.
I mean, you're not wrong.
The games are pretty brown.
Fallout 3 was very brown and gray.
Yeah.
New Vegas was entirely
Dude,
brown.
New Vegas is just shit all over the fucking area, dude. That's it. That's all
they're
there is.
good. That's the color of everything.
Oh.
But yeah, that was Square Enix's shit, and then everyone went home, and I couldn't sleep that night, so I lied awake in bed just thinking about how the
Todd
Nintendo
Howard
one was
and
gonna
wishes
be.
he could suck his dick.
And then bright and early, the next day, the Nintendo press conference, which we ended up seeing late, which ironically for the Smash reveals, I was trying to get the fucking video up on the screen, and I completely missed an actual spoiler for the Direct.
Banjo and Kazooie.
Everyone saw it, and I was just like, I looked up, and I think it was me and Donovan were the only people that didn't see it, and we were like, "What we missed? What's up?" And shit ended up being, not fake or whatever, because sometimes that shit does happen where people upload videos that are
At
like,
first we thought it was when Dragon Quest guy was announced.
yeah, that's
The hero.
the hero. I forgot. Yeah, you sent me. I couldn't remember if you watched it or not, but I remembered you sent me that text that was just Doug Bowser over and over again. Which
Oh,
might I
shit.
add?
I have some news
Oh, breaking news
from Donovan. Now, this is technically backtracking again, but
Okay.
he says, I didn't know, but I think I read it right, that Nuclear Winter will stay up past the 17th if you own Fallout 76.
Oh? Question mark? I guess we'll find out after the 17th. Thank you for that breaking news update.
Thanks, Todd. Back to you.
You gonna buy Skyrim again?
No!
But
Man, you want to play
Yo,
Skyrim
I
again?
mean, people
Get me.
make that bit, but like,
Get
if they
me,
just
bro.
released Skyrim and just added shit to it, I'd be like, I guess I'm getting Skyrim again.
But would you do
Fuck.
it if they
Still add
didn't
stuff
add
to it
anything?
constantly. They're adding like mods and stuff.
Well,
nonstop
yeah, but
on the remastered.
yeah. But anyway, Nintendo started bright and early the next day, and it started off with the Smash reveal, didn't it?
I think
Yeah.
With the Dragon Quest guy.
Yeah.
that was like the opening. Was
Where
Smashing
where
Quest.
Link was
It opened with it and then ended with Banjo and Kazooie.
Yeah.
I believe. So.
where Link was fighting Dark Marth, or Darth, as some people would like to call it,
Like dork.
and then absolutely got his fucking ever living ass beat. He got a fucking ass splintering from fucking Dead and I watched that trailer like 6 or 7 times by now, and he's just fucking wailing on him. The dude's just, the Link is just sitting there just like, just getting pressured back by the blocks. It's just great. And then the Dragon's Quest guy comes up. I hate Dragon's Quest. However, the character is pretty fucking cool. Honestly. The fact that like you have like a limited source of like it's not like Robin where you have like this limited use of your moves. You just have a pool of mana that you can use, and you can use whatever moves you want in whatever excessiveness that you want. AK meaning people are gonna find what the best ones are and what ones are best suited for situations or whatever. Spam the best one as much as possible when applicable, so on and so forth.
Breaking news!
News update.
From Donovan again! I just got on it, and it does say it will stay on.
Score! Thank you for that breaking news.
Breaking news.
Alright, coming back to the whole thing. But the hero seems pretty neat. I like the alternative costumes. I think that's kind of cool. Although I kind of wish they would have elaborated more on how he works, like how they did with when they revealed Joker, because they showed off all his, like they revealed him, but then they showed off all his moves or whatever, and how they worked to a basic, like simple, in the simplest way they could. without having to go in like super big detail. But like, hopefully they'll do that soon. Because I mean, a lot of things were kind of obscure. There were a little bit too many special moves, and it had like that command menu of spells, and they portrayed it like the different alternate costumes had different moves, like different specials. So that kind of confused me a little bit, and I kind of want them to elaborate on that a little bit more, but we'll see. The final Smash looked amazing, by the way. That shit's kind of cool. Very Dragon's Quest kind of fashion, where you kind of only see it's kind of like a different perspective because you're looking from the enemy's perspective or whatever. Because in Dragon's Quest you don't see your character's attack in the older ones. It's just like an attack that happens on the screen. You don't see the characters. So it's kind of like their perspective, or your perspective being hit. But it's kind of cool. Then they immediately jumped into Luigi's Mansion 3 with new feature, Gooigi.
Hell yeah. And you better be added as a Smash skin.
People better start using that as a meme format, like the featuring new funky mode and Dante from the Devil May Cry series, like that sort of collection of like memes, like selling points on the box. But like new feature Gooigi's pretty cool. Can we get Gooigi for Smash? Hashtag I'm Gooigi, actually. Moving on. I'm done with that.
I don't even know what that means.
Dude, I'm Gooigi. I'm just green. My life is just green.
But when you say you're Gooigi, it just sounds weird.
The word Gooigi should not be something that comes out of anyone's mouth.
Why have we said it so much?
I don't know.
It's because we're gamers.
God damn it, Richard.
29.
But, what else did they... I think the next...
Oh, no,
the pop filter.
I fixed it.
Jinx Gooigi.
Thank you, gamer. God damn it.
And then there were 28.
And anyway, then I think the very next thing was the Panzer Dragoon reveal, which immediately when that came on the screen, like the music or whatever.
Sounded pretty gamer.
You're just baiting it at this point, dude. But immediately at this point, like in time at the direct, everyone was just sitting there watching this thing happen on the screen, and I feel like it was all, other than the Final Fantasy VII stuff, which was kind of low energy because I was getting a little bit tired at that point in the night, but I still had enough for the hype. I was just keeping it down a little bit. For some reason, I popped the hell off for Panzer Dragoon, and while everyone sat in the room was like, "What was that?" And
I don't know what that is.
Panzer Dragoon is like a Dreamcast game or whatever.
Twice now.
I think it's on the Saturn.
Did you say Panzer Dragoon, not Panzer?
Panzer.
Panzer.
But it seems pretty neat. They didn't really show too much, but then again, the game's not really much to begin with. It's like an on-rail shooter, technically. It's cool. We'll see how it is. It probably won't have a full price tag on it, but it definitely did seem like one of the bigger surprises just randomly out of the blue that came out. And then they came out with the fucking Contra game that they literally announced back in like 2011 with like, Contra's coming back. 8 fucking years later, we get a giant collection with every Contra game ever in it, and also a Contra game that looks like it was made for the Wii. It graphically, like visually.
Can I get another Tonka game?
Visually, that game looked Tonka.
Trucks. Yeah.
Tonka trucks.
I had a PS1 game that was a Tonka truck game.
What the fuck?
It was lit, dude. You just went around different levels with different kinds of like
trucks.
Like they had like some weird space shit in it. Where you were like a space dump truck. It was very weird. It was lit though. It was
Sounds like a fun time.
That is strange. But
the
the Contra game that some people, like, I guarantee you some people probably blew their heads off after seeing the final result of this game that they thought had went silent from their possible game, like, favorite game series of all time, and looking at it, and it looks worse than Duke Nukem Forever visually. So that's kind of unfortunate. Not really a knock on the game. Also, another game that had a fucking Terminator thing in it. It has this big ass robot that literally just looks like a T-1000. and we made a bit about that for sure. But the game's out right now. It literally came out when they revealed the trailer, so if you like Contra, get a Switch, I guess. What else was after? No More Heroes 3.
I called it.
That shit was fucking wild. Was
It's
never
pretty nice.
honestly after Travis Strikes Back, which was the game that came out last year sometime, or was it? I think it might have been this year, like early this year. But that game was actually kind of neat. It wasn't exactly a No More Heroes game, so a lot of people kind of gave it some criticism for that, just for having a different thing. Like that's not just Travis Touchdown doing Travis Touchdown things in No More Heroes. But seeing that we actually now have a true third game coming out, it almost feels like a fucking dream, if I'm being real. Cause that game series is like super niche, honestly. Mostly just because of the systems that it's on. You wouldn't really expect a game like that to be on the Wii.
But you shake the thing.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, it's on PS3 as well. But
Yeah, I have it on PS3 and I've never played it.
it's such a good game. Those games are so fucking cool. They're kind of tedious and they've aged a little bit, but overall, I feel like you can still play the games and call it good. It's like it's honestly kind of a classic, like in terms of it being like of that generation of games. Because it was, I believe the first one was fairly early in that generation. So I don't even think it was 2010 when the first one came out. Might have been on the year of. I'm not entirely sure of that, but whatever. We finally got No More Heroes 3 with the weird censored trailer and all, where he says weird dubbed family friendly things instead of what he would normally say, which, yeah, it's kind of weird. But there's a part where he said funky instead of fuck in the trailer, which I mean, it makes sense, whatever. But I don't know. I don't know what fucking kid, like, that just sits there and wakes up that early at the very, like, second week of summer vacation to watch Nintendo Direct. So, I don't know. It beats me. But, so we got that. And then we got, like, a pretty big, like, slew of just games coming to the Switch that they just sort of flashed on the screen. And they gave more detail on later. We got some Sword and Shield stuff. Not a whole lot. They did do a Nintendo Treehouse Live about the,
had some gameplay.
yeah, that had, like, some gameplay in which fucking 5 minutes of it were just them standing there.
Menacingly.
So it's kind of fucking stupid.
And now in this game, you can stand in an open field and a choke will chase you down and beat your ass.
That was the greatest thing. There was literally fucking... Did you watch the gameplay at all? There's literally a moment, like, because they have this thing called the Wild Area now, which is like this huge, humongous area that kind of spans, like, they have the routes, and then they have the Wild Area, which is like this huge-ass area that just spans from one part of the map all the way to the other, like, different parts of the map. And it's all connected in one area.
Tall grass.
Well, it's like, it's like a free roam area, where you free roam wherever you want, and, like, you have a completely full controllable camera and everything, and Pokemon are out in the overworld, and you can battle them and all that. It's super cool. Like, it's honestly, like, you can tell that they're using it. Like, Let's Go came out, and that whole game was just, like, the linear routes with the fixed camera, like, very not open world, very just Gen 1, but you had Pokemon out in the overworld just walking around.
Yeah.
So you could see what you were trying to get. They took the information and the data from that, I would assume, and used that as a tester for Sword and Shield, in which that area is like, it's now like, it's not a completely free roam game, like open world game, but you can tell they're making strides to make sure the games will eventually be open world. Like that. That's how you can tell. Yes, there was some controversy that came out at the end of that day, for they did announce the unfortunate fucking transfer plan that they didn't elaborate on, and they probably should have given more information on at the time when they said it. AKA every Pokemon that's not going to be in the Galar region, which is the new one.
The Yala region?
Galar.
Oh.
the Galar region that's not the new region, and every Pokemon that's supposedly not going to be featured in that new region, there will not only will there not be a national dex like there will be like there was in Gen 7, those Pokemon will not even be programmed into the game.
Well, that's stupid.
That's what everyone else is saying. However, that is a topic. Yeah, computer going dark.
That ruins Pokemon down to its like root
Core.
essence.
Gotta catch them all. Thank you. That's what everybody is saying. And there's been a humongous uproar over the past few days over this. Understandably.
I mean, I get it because it's getting to the point where there's like too many to put into a game.
There's 800,
But
over 800. However, their excuse for not doing this was what people most find it unacceptable. I feel like they were talking whenever they made this announcement. They left it at that and were like, "Fuck you, goodbye." Like like it was like that sort of kind of feeling, where it was like, "Here's all this information you're about to cream," and then they straight up just jab a knife into your face and then ran. Like that's how it felt, honestly. And as someone who like carries Pokemon over from generation to generation for sentimental value or whatever, personally, it's like it kind of feels like a fucking kick to the nuts.
Well, I mean,
Because it's just
they're
like
gonna bring them at some point. They're not gonna forever.
they
National
have.
Dex is probably gonna come. She probably
That's
won't
the
be
thing.
there on release.
That's the thing. It's causing an uproar because of the way that it's because of what they said and the way that they said it. Because their excuse is that they didn't, in order to get on time for the release date, they have to cut a lot of Pokemon. They
just
didn't
fucking delay the game until you can program them all in.
Thank you. That's what I've been
But-
saying.
See, that's why games like Fallout 76 and stuff like that, partially, not entirely, come out when they do, is because they're like, oh, we've hyped all these people up for it. If we delay it, people are going to be mad. However, most people, and it's not necessarily the people, because either way they're going to get hate.
Yeah.
From someone.
But at the same time, I
But-
also feel like Pokemon is an exception to this. Because it is Pokemon, and people will literally get it regardless of what happens.
I mean, yeah, no, for sure. But the point is, like, it's like one of those things where they are going with this because as a company, they're like, oh, this is the smarter option. Because then we can release it earlier, thus we get the money sooner.
That is true. However, Pokemon's
Because a lot of it is about marketing
yeah.
and stuff like that. So,
Coming from like the publisher side of the Pokemon company, the games is where they make their least amount of revenue per year. But from Game Freak's side of things, that's their revenue that they make.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's a small port. The Pokemon company is fucked. Like they have the most like sinister business practices like of all time. Game Freak is not excluded from that either, considering that they don't do a lot of good business practices either. With a lot of stuff that they've done in the past, that definitely make like Game Freak kind of sucks. Not gonna lie, Game Freak's pretty bad with the decisions that they make.
Yeah.
Kind of fucks them over a little bit and fucks other people over, and it's kind of not cool. But I do personally believe that, yeah, they might add them in, but it's just the fact that they didn't verify any sort of information and just left it as a blanket statement. It's like, what Pokemon are going to be excluded? Are some of them up to a certain point or past a certain point not included? Why can we all transfer them into the new bank system, but not transfer them into the game? And they said, "Oh, we don't have enough time to program every single Pokemon in." Kind of dumb. Kind of a dumb excuse to leave it at that, you know, when they don't explain themselves, and they just say, "It just takes too much time to do the thing, make the game." But you can catch Wingull. Wingle's in the game.
Hell yeah, dude.
It's all we need, Wingle Dingle. But
Dynamax Wingle.
yeah, Dynamax Wingle. New
I
feature.
want a Dynamax my way.
New feature, Luigi. But I think that was really about it for pretty much all of E3. Honestly. Anyone else can think of anything whatsoever?
Yamper is the best new Pokemon.
What?
True.
It's a corgi.
It's a corgi, which I did call.
Oh, just we had to wait to see what it looked like. At first, on the straight on like blurry picture, he looked retarded. He looked stupid. But then we got a clear picture. He looks so good.
Colton, a Pokemon that you might actually enjoy, which I'll show you off camera. Impidimp. I'm gonna leave it at that until I show you. Until I show you. It literally sounds like a Pokemon you'd use. Like, not gonna lie. Anyway, but I think that's really it for E3, honestly. Going back around, just seeing the normal podcast thing, as long as it's something we can give a rating to. Michael, did your answer change from the start of the podcast, yes or no?
No, I think it's still about an 8.
Okay. Richard?
Keep it about like 6.5.
6.5. Colton?
I'm giving Impidimp out of 10.
Then Impidimp out of 10.
I'd still say 7.
For me, talking about it now, like reflecting on it and seeing it so many times and just sort of like reminiscing in my head in the roughly 2 hours that we've had.
You spoiled it.
Oh, yeah. But, hashtag Impidimp, bro.
We're gonna find some clearer pictures.
But, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like just talking about it, just the fact that I could talk about just the Square Enix conference alone for another 2 hours or so. Burp down, sorry everyone. I'm gross. I don't know. I feel like I have to bump mine up to an 8.
What is that?
Honestly. Like, just thinking about it, I'm actually pretty hyped. And there was so much that they didn't even show off that we heard was coming or that we know is coming. We just don't have any more information.
Kind of sad.
But that's what Evo's for, baby.
You ruined it. Because it was 8, 7.5, 7,
6.5. Well, I ruined it.
And you ruined it.
I did.
How could you do this?
Anyway, that's all the time we have today. Now that we've officially ruined it and exhausted the topics to an extent.
By the way, how many gamers we got left?
Oh God! Thank you all for watching.
Gamer,
I gotta stop it now.